Hello and welcome to another mystery vintage or antique crochet pattern. You will note I don't have my bowl out, but I do have my stack of patterns. I have my new antique bowl in, and it does hold all of our numbers perfectly. Here is the old bowl. I've been using the old bowl just to kind of protect and hold this new one. This is a antique Nippon bowl, hand painted. These were made between 1880 and 1905. So it is antique. It is Nippon. It's very cute. It's quite a bit little, but I picked it because it has high walls. It's deep. It can hold all of our numbers. So meet our new antique Nippon bowl. It's got these like little jade green dots here around the inner edge. I just want to give you a really good look at that. I think that rose goes that way. The rose in the center. I'm trying to get you some sunlight on it here. It's very, very pretty, flanked by lots of little roses. Okay, so it holds all of our numbers very well, and then the old bowl just sort of protects this one so that it doesn't fall. So let's go ahead and pick today's number. Of course, shuffling is a little bit trickier now. And there we go. Okay. Number 10. Okay. Okay. And I still have, for this book here, because I know exactly what book this came out of because we worked this book so much last month, I still have the terms used in this book so that we know exactly what they mean by single, double, and everything. Even though I already know what they mean, I occasionally get some people questioning in the comments that, are you sure that that's what that means? And I understand. So I just keep that little paper to go with this book here, just to quell any confusion. Okay, so this pattern comes out of that 1879 book. Begin with a loose chain. Of course, it doesn't tell us what we need. Likely the title of it pretty much gives it away. Like, is it a shawl or is it a bag? Is it baby booties? So likely the title would have made it commonsensical as to what size hook and yarn you need. But since this is mystery vintage crochet and antique crochet, we have to deduce that ourselves. So begin with a loose chain, the desired length. I hate it whenever patterns say that, whenever they say the desired length. Oh no, you have to break off at the end of every row. Oh, I hate that so much. Put the wool over the needle and draw the needle through a lower loop as though you were going to work a treble. Treble crochet in this era, UK pattern, means a US double crochet. But instead of finishing, put the wool again over the needle and again draw the wool through the loop. Repeat from. There ought to be 7 stitches now on the hook. Draw the wool through 6, then through the last 2. Chain 1 or 1 chain, repeat. In the other rows, work into the holes formed by the 1 chain. Begin with 1 US double crochet, UK treble crochet to keep it even. Treble is to put the cotton over the needle and insert the latter into a loop. This is the terms used. Draw the cotton first through the loop, then through 2 stitches, then again through the last 2 stitches. That is a US double crochet. In this book, a double crochet is a US single crochet, is to draw the thread through a loop in the lower row, then draw it through the other 2 stitches. That is a single crochet in the US. Okay, well, this looks like it's just a 1 row repeat. Unfortunately, that 1 row, we have to break off at the end of every row, which just makes a project take for absolute ever. I don't know if this is a blanket or a shawl. I can't imagine it would be anything other than a blanket or a shawl. So I'm just going to make a sample size, and here we go. Okay, so I'm going to use this Super Saver tweed. I'm not crazy about it. It's not my favorite yarn. I only have one ball of it, so it's cool for sacrificing by cutting it up into a billion different little pieces since I have to cut at the end of every row. So this is typically the yarn I grab whenever I'm practicing a stitch or I'm playing around with the pattern. I just want to get a feel for it. This is usually what I grab. I've had it on my couch, on the back of my couch for probably about 3 months now because I just use it for sampling with because I really don't care for it that much. Okay, and I'm also going to use a 5mm hook. This yarn recommends a 5.5, but I'm going to go with a 5. And here we go. We're going to start with a chain the length we need. I'm just going to do this for sample size. Of course, whenever we uncover this, by the way, just a refresher from last month, this book doesn't have but maybe a couple of photos. I think one of the only patterns we worked out of this book that had a photo was the gentleman's waistcoat. That one had a drawing. But 99% of these don't have photos, so this doesn't have a photo, but the title will tell us if it was supposed to be a shawl or a coverette or something along those lines. All right, the length that we think we need. Now, are we skipping any? That would help me know if I need to work in multiples of 2 or 4. Okay, so this tells us how to work the stitch, and then it says there ought to be 7 now. Draw through 6, then through the last 2, chain 1 and repeat. So we don't skip any. Oh, no, through the last 2, then we chain 1. Now it doesn't say to skip any or miss any. The holes by the chain 1, begin with 1 treble. I really don't think we even need to cut. I think we can turn. In fact, I'm going to start off by turning just to see how it looks, and then I'll do what the pattern says and I will cut. Begin with 1 treble to keep it even. So it wants you to start at the beginning of every row with 1 double crochet, US double crochet. It's not telling us to skip. If I were to work this stitch into every single stitch, it would turn into an overpacked circle. So I'm going to have to skip, even though it doesn't say to. But you know, these patterns, they rely on you to use your common sense or whatever the case may be. And I got to straighten out my camera. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start a chain. I'm going to work a multiple of 2s, and then I'm going to add 3, 4, 5, 4. I don't know. I'll tell you when I get there. Okay, so I'm going to actually add 5. I went ahead and chained 24, but I'm going to add 5 because we're going to need to skip the first chain, because at the end of the row, I should be skipping the second to last chain. So I need to skip the first chain. No, I need to work 1, 2, 3 into the 4th stitch, but skip a chain, so into the 5th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I will skip 4 for my double crochet. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm sorry. I will skip 3 for my double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Then I would normally work that in the 4th stitch, but I need to skip 1 stitch. So into the 5th stitch over. That's going to make my stitches uneven, isn't it? It will. Okay, so chain an extra 4, not extra 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 5th stitch. I should hopefully have even stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, I lost. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Nope, I have an odd number. 23, 24, 25. Definitely don't want an odd number. So then it was chain 3. Sorry that I'm not very good at just automatically knowing how to do these things. I have to figure them out. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we should have an even number of stitches. Okay, so I already screwed up by working 1 double crochet. It was not supposed to do that. Oh, there goes my Merlin. Hold on. Okay, he stopped. He was just barking at Justin. Okay. Put the wool over the needle. Draw through a loop. Draw through a lower loop as though you were going to work a treble. But instead of finishing, put the wool again over the loop. Okay, so pull through one, pull through the loop, then pull through two, put the wool over the needle, and again, draw through the loop. Oh, we're making a cluster stitch. And then pull through two, and then do this until there are 7 loops. So 1, 2, 3, so that was 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one more time, 6. We got to put this 6 times. That's a heck of a, wow, it's like a puff stitch we're making. Then it says to draw through 6 and then draw through 2. So it's like a puff stitch. Then it says to chain 1, and I'm just going to skip 1 and do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is going to be the fastest mystery pattern we've ever worked. Pull through 6, then pull through 2, then chain 1, skip 1, and in the next stitch over, start that again. So I'll be right back. I'm going to work this all the way to the end. Here we go. It's making puff stitches. I'll be right back. Okay, so here I have 1 row, the first row completed. I ended with a skip 1 and then work a double crochet into the last stitch. And yeah, that is thick. So it does say to start every row with a double crochet and then work. I'm going to turn this first time just so we can see if do you really have to, so I'm going to also chain 1. So I'm going to work a double crochet plus chain 1. It's like, do you really have to cut at the end of every row? So here we go. It said to work in the chain 1 spaces, basically between the puffs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and oops, 6. Do that one again. Keep wanting to split that little strand of yarn right there. It's holding me up. Okay. And then it just pops forward naturally on that side. Then just chain 1, skip the next puff, and just continue to work these. So I'm going to work this all the way to the end. Then I'm going to turn and work back to this end, and then I'll start cutting, and we'll see is it really necessary to cut. I can tell you already it's not, but we're going to do it the way the pattern asks. But at first we're going to do it work smarter not harder type way. I'll be right back. I'm going to work this puff stitch all the way to this end, then I'm going to come up and work it all the way back over to this end where I will then begin cutting. So while we are waiting for me to work up this swatch, I just want to give a very heartfelt thank you to 2 people who gifted me some wonderful gifts. See here, we have, these come from Kelly, and these are going to help me read things. She's a reading teacher. So we have here, I didn't open it all the way because I wanted to wait until I was on camera. We have here this deal here that will slide across your paperwork. She got these from Amazon, and then a much smaller one. There we go. And then these which they got a little bit bent in the mail. So I'm going to have to put them out in the heat, let them soften up, and then put them between a heavy book. Because you can see they curled up on the corners, but that's just from shipping, you know. But these should help me as well, like this. See there? Go like this, go like that, go like that. Isn't that helpful? That would help you guys a lot too. So I am going to put these out on the front porch and let them soften up, and then I'm going to put them between two heavy books and try to flatten out. Thank you so much, Kelly. I love that. It's such a thoughtful and useful gift. And we have here, this is from Brooke. Brooke has sent something before. So this is from Brooke, and she picked up these threads at a Goodwill and then decided to send them to me. Look at this one here. This was the one that first caught my eye. All of these threads are between size 40 or 50 and 70. But this is a knitting silk, 70 yards of knitting silk made in the US, so you know it's vintage because we don't make anything here. And it feels amazing because it's silk. It's just lovely. I absolutely treasure that. I love that it's on a wooden spindle. I just love that. But these are all vintage. Here's a size 50, and there's so many of them. I'm not sure if, I think that they were crocheted with, but probably also people were sewing with them. Well, here's a little bit of crochet work right here. Look at that. Someone was starting something with this tiny thread right here. See if we can see a size on it. It doesn't have a size on it, but I can tell you that this is probably going to be a size 40. Definitely a size 40 or a size 30. Definitely a 40. But there's so many of them. This is so thoughtful. Thank you so much, Brooke. I absolutely treasure this. I love that they're all pieced apart according to color. We have a few more in here, a couple more in here. Isn't that pretty? And let's see, what are you? This one here looks a little bit worn out. It hasn't been used yet. This is a cordonette. I can tell by the way it's spun. It's corded, but we can't see any details about it. But these are really cool. It's not the same as this. This is thin. This is like a size 10 almost. I would call this a size 10 cordonette. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I am very much so grateful for that, Brooke. Thank you, and thank you so much, Kelly. Okay, next time you see me, I will have the first part of my sample done where I didn't turn. Or where I did turn, Okay, so I went ahead and cut, and there is a difference in stitch definition, but that's because these stitches down here are much tighter than these stitches. These are worked into a tight chain stitch, and these are worked into a open chain one space. I would say if I had to do this again, I would start with a looser chain stitch because this is kind of, you know, curving a little bit. So now I'm going to go ahead and just work them by cutting at the end of each row. And what I did do is on the third row, which every other row will have to be the same way, in the very first chain one space, I worked my first puff to avoid creating a Christmas tree. You'll have to do that too. So on this one here, I'm going to skip over the first puff, and then on the next row, I'm going to work in the space, the chain one space just before the first puff. So I'll go ahead and start, and I will work 3 rows with cutting at the end of every row. And then we'll get a pretty good idea of how it was meant to look. Okay, then chain 1, and I'm just going to jump right on over and start working these puff stitches. Now, when working this way, the puff stitches are going to develop behind the work. You just have to push them forward. 1, 2, 3. But I suspect these puff stitches are going to look just like these ones down here because of how loose the space is that I'm working in. 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, it's no different. Almost flat. Did I chain 1? No. Okay, chain 1. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to work this for 3 total rows, cutting at the end of each row, starting over again, with every other row being worked by missing the first puff or working in the first space for the next row, just to kind of keep it even. I'll be right back. Okay, so I can confirm there is no benefit, no difference whatsoever in cutting off at the end of every row and then, or just simply turning and popping out your puffs into the direction you want them to be. So let's unmask this and see what it is. Very quick mystery video today, but I'm going to immediately turn around and work on another video. So let's just see what this one is. Okay, so this says that it's a coverette, but it says see frontispiece figure 1. So I know what book this is, so I'm going to jump on my computer really quick and see if I can see what they're talking about here to see if we do have, in fact, a picture. So I will be right back. Okay, so we do have a photo of sorts. To me, this looks more like a Van Dyke stitch or a granny stitch. It doesn't appear to have nearly the amount of wraps, but it's a drawing. So this is what it is meant to look like, and this is the picture that was just after the cover page. So I think that's what they meant by frontispiece. See frontispiece figure 1. So I think this is what it's meant to be, but this is what I have. So there we go. There we go. That's the right way. So there we go. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty easy. And again, I want to give a big thank you to those who sent me some wonderful gifts for the reading and all that wonderful thread and that silk. Thank you so, so much for that. I genuinely don't deserve any of you. You know, I always say that, and that's because it's true. Like, the generosity is so unbelievably, I don't know, it just makes me speechless. Okay, I will see you guys in the next mystery. Bye.